This is the Realty Classroom Podcast, episode number 35.
Welcome to the show that focuses on helping real estate agents build a bulletproof business plan so that they can sell more properties in less time and live a more fulfilled life.
Are you a real estate agent with an entrepreneurial spirit who wants to turn your job into a business without sacrificing your lifestyle, but you just can't seem to find the right plan to help you get there? Well, then you're definitely in the right place. Hey, I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Realty Classroom and the host of this podcast. And to help you take immediate action to build a better real estate agent business, I've created a free jumpstart course for you over at freeagentgift.com. It's good whether you're a veteran or a rookie, doesn't matter. It is the basics and the foundation, the wireframe for my very top producing business today and my mastermind members. So get over there, freeagentgift.com. Let's get started. In this episode, I want to talk about, it's all about you. And I highlight and underline about. The about page. Yes, it is critical. Why? Point number one. When you interact with anybody about buying or selling real estate and you pass a business card over, and if it bare minimum has your name and your company name on it and somebody's remotely interested in what you had to say, what's the first thing that they're going to do? They're going to Google you, aren't they? They're going to walk away, go to their phone in the little old white box. They're going to go check you out. They're going to cyber stalk you. Yes, they are. They might even go to Facebook specifically, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, whatever platform, but they're going to go check you out because that's just how we live in the digital age. When we find somebody interesting, we research them because it's easy to do. So you have to understand that one of the most important things is that if that's going to happen in the context of real estate, are they going to find you digitally the way you want them to find you? Now, look I'm going to sit here and plead guilty. This topic, as I'm recording this, is fresh in our mastermind group, right? I always try to share a good tidbit from what's going on the bleeding edge in our discussions. And I don't mean necessarily that this is a rocket science discussion. A lot of you might be doing this very well already. But I know that most of you, like me even, are discounting the power of your about page. Now, you might be scratching your head saying, well, what about page? What are you talking about? And that's even a bigger problem because that means you're just not really cognizant that your website is really the most important thing that you really focus on in the digital age. Because yes, there's a lot of bricks and mortar still, meaning the physicality of your office and whatnot. But the days of the business proliferating because somebody walks by the corner of State and Main and happens into your business is pretty well gone. I think addresses matter, but you can see all the agencies that are proliferating that are claiming to be virtual agencies, right? In the cloud. I'm in the cloud, man. So if that's the case, maybe we all better pay attention to the cloud or the internet so that when somebody goes out there and they search us, what do they find? So I think it's important that you go Google yourself and you go find out where you're at. Now, a lot of you might have somebody who has a similar name. I do. There's a soccer player named Danny Griffin. There's a great photographer named Danny Griffin. Now there's some kid that's in college that's doing a good job of indexing his name. He's on the first page. So there's a lot going on when it comes to you and your name on the internet. But look, suffice to say that we want them to find us in the context of real estate, right? So we really need to pay attention to what Google really does. And that's indexing. So in other words, like a library, there's just all these index cards, but they're all digital so that when somebody goes to search it and they search that name or that query, they're going to find you somewhere. Now, we don't know what page you'll be on. Hopefully it's the first one if you play the game right. So in other words, I've taken great pains to develop out, and coming soon, my own website company. Why? Because I just got sick and tired of having to beg other website companies to help me get set up the way that I wanted to. So I started just building my own WordPress website some years ago. And that's led me to understand a lot of this and help me focus on it. Well, duh, if there's one thing that people want to know is they want to know about you. See, in our mastermind this week, Gail Rossetti, one of my favorites, she came up with a great line that there is no competition for you. There's none. The way you say things, the way you do things, you're it. You're so unique. Everybody's obsessed over these corny, unique selling propositions. No, look, the way that you take somebody through the universal process that we all follow is wildly unique. So if that's the case, where can I come and engage you? Now, you know, a lot of you are scratching your heads these days about lead gen and saying, well, it used to be that. I mean, people would just opt in and you'd have them captive and you could call them until they picked up the phone and you could explain who you are. But I think what's happening more and more and more as I see lead gen atrophy, or at least become much more difficult, it's because people don't like two dimensions in the internet age anymore. What do I mean by that? Well, when they Google you, what they really, really like to do is engage a video about you. That's what they'd like to do. Now, I know a lot of you just cringed. Oh my gosh, in front of the camera. Look, even if it's just an audio or a voice or something, if you're in the real estate agency business or any other business, come on, you're trying to get face to face with buyers and sellers. So what, all of a sudden the camera goes on instead of a human being and you're different? Get over it. Get in front of a camera and tell the world what you're about. That's where it starts. Somewhere between 59 seconds, so it's Instagrammable, or a couple of minutes, so it's really YouTube ready. And I think 2 minutes, I just see a lot of great stuff being done in about 2 minutes, and you can take a smaller version, but just tell somebody what you're about. If you were in front of them, why you? That's your about page. I see a lot of great about pages with the theme of we believe or I believe. So really, when you think about it, hey, if you're buying or selling, I just want you to recognize that I know that this is the single largest financial transaction that most people will make in a lifetime. That makes your emotions go through the roof. So I feel your pain. In fact, I've bought a couple myself and it's painful, even though I'm a realtor. So what I want to do is be your guide, and I have a plan, and here's where I get you my plan. That's it, right? That's really what happens. So I want to really emphasize that second point there and give full credit to Gail. Who you are has no competition. Think about that. Who you are about you has no competition. It's a vacuum. There can never be another you. Yes, I know you're going to say to me, Bud, we all sound like we're saying the same thing. Well, you are. But if I see you on video, do you think I'm going, hey, that about page sounds pretty similar to that about page? No, I'm looking at the color of your hair, your eyes, the way you articulate words, what you're wearing, what the backdrop is. I'm engaged in you and the way you're bringing this to me. And what's happening is you're really creating this magnetic moment. Now, if you've ever played around with two magnets, you know what happens when you try to put the wrong end together. They repel each other. So the coolest thing about this about video, or this concept of about you in this kinesthetic way, is that it will repel some people. They won't like you for no reason that's rational sometimes, right? They won't like you, but that's good. It's a filtering system. It's really helping people say, that's not my cup of tea. I just don't like that guy. Okay, great. Whatever. Move on. But there will be those people that say, I really liked what he had to say or she had to say. It was very insightful, and I've never seen anybody do that before. In fact, I'm compelled a little bit. So I want to go back, and you probably didn't notice that I gave you a quick formula there. So the next point in this podcast is how to tell your story. Now, there's a lot of great resources out there. I prefer storybrand.com. I think it's Don Miller. I can't always forget his exact name, but I'm pretty sure I'm right there. Storybrand.com. Go over there, check it out. He has a PDF called How to Tell Your Story. And I really like it because what he does is he takes the classic formula of proper storytelling and he graphs it out for you. So the first thing is the character is not you. Now it's a little tricky here because I'm telling you it's all about you, but now I'm trying to tell you how to tell your story. You still have to remember that you don't want to be overly gratuitous. Me. Nobody likes that story when it comes across that way. But if you do your about you in the context of real estate correctly, you're speaking immediately to, and remember, you have that couple of seconds to hook the avatar or the ideal client in. Remember, we're trying to speak to that person. So this about page will get pushed out to where you think your ideal client is. So you have to speak to them quickly. Hey, do you live in the town of Barnstable and you're thinking about buying or selling, but it really gives you fits to think about going through that stressful process? Well, then you're in the right place. Something like that. You can hear it every time I do the intro to this podcast as well. Are you a real estate agent with an entrepreneurial spirit, right? Who wants to turn your job into a business? I'm speaking to avatar first so that quickly somebody knows they're in the right place. And again, that's a magnetically attractive or repelling statement too. It very quickly says, this is the type of person I'm about to speak to. So if that's you, lean in. If not, you can bounce, no problem. Good luck. Okay. So the beginning part is to really notice the character. That buyer or seller is really truly the hero. They're the most important part of how we tell this story about us. So we want to engage them first. But the next thing we want to do, and remember, business is about solving problems. So I don't like the term agitate the pain as much as I do just state the problem or the challenge. This is the single largest financial and therefore emotional transaction most people make in a lifetime. And it can be very complicated, confusing, and stressful. Okay. So beat number one was, hey, this might be you. Hey, if it is, this is probably the pain you're about to feel or worried about. Now, the other part of the story, here you come. Now you're the guide. So in our mastermind, we came up with something interesting. We talked about a flashback. Dean Miller gave me that idea. Good one, right? A flashback. A flashback to what? Well, maybe to the moment when you were a buyer or a seller, or maybe the moment of how you got into the business. What is it that led you here to want to become a guide? How'd you become the Sherpa in real estate? Did you have a background in helping people? Were you doing something else that you didn't like and this was your opportunity? And you really got excited when you found out, oh my gosh, this is complicated. There's an opportunity here. Give them a little bit of a background about the guide. Who are you? Introduce yourself to them with a little bit of humanity involved in that story. Don't be all contrived and weird. Just tell them your story. And then ultimately, and I push it every single week I talk to you all, you got to have a plan. I say that word all the time. You don't have the right plan, then you're in the right place. Here we are. So we introduce buyer, seller, and if we're in the recruiting mode, agent plans. Simple ones. We tell them they can get what to do, simple plans for free. Our best stuff. You can come here and get it for free. Right? And that's really how this starts. So that's that last point there is fulfillment begins the relationship. So imagine this about page. We say hello to the character quickly. We really just state the problem and the pain. And then we get into the introduction of ourselves as the guide, and we tell them that we have some simple plan that can really bring that stress down. It can help them be more organized and in control of the process, and then offer that to them. See, the fulfillment of giving something away after you've said this genuine piece. Now give them something to validate it. Don't just state it and babble on about how you're really connected to this and why you do this without fulfilling something, because that begins the relationship correctly. A gift of empowering information. And that's very important. Now, if you want to see what I say about the difference between that information and insight, go back to the last episode and check that out. But I really wanted to get to this because this bubbled up like lightning and all of a sudden it hits me. My gosh, anybody, all you veterans, take pause and say, when they Google you, do they go to an about page where there's really an engaging video about your company? Is there about pages? And similarly for your agents, this is all what we're working on live in my company and in my mastermind group that I'm running, right? So you have to pay attention to all of this. Are we telling our story? Very, very critical. But ultimately, fulfill by giving them something valuable, whether, he said, they are going to use you or not. That's not the point. The starting point here in About is to position yourself as a gift giver, somebody who genuinely wants to make the world of real estate better. You want to bring stress down for buyers, sellers, and agents by giving away what to do information for free. Trust in the magnet. It will come back to you. Okay, not always, but more than enough. All right. I want to summarize and chunk up these bullet points again. Number one, what do they find when they Google your name in the context of real estate? Two, who you are has no competition. So you got to get this out there. Number three, you have to learn how to tell that story. I'll hit the bullet points real quick again. Okay. Number one, get the character involved. Two, discuss the pain. Three, introduce yourself as the guide. Four, tell them you have a plan. Five, give them the call to action on how to get it, right? That's how you tell a story properly with those beats. And lastly, fulfillment. By giving that thing easily, letting them download it, letting them hear it instantly, it begins the relationship correctly, he said. I got all excited there. Now, to summarize the key point, ensure that you pass the About You test. It is Marketing 101. Get it in place. And of course, remember, you can take more immediate action and get started in the right direction with what? My fulfillment, my free gift to you over at freeagentgift.com. And don't slough it away. It is the bone structure for the understanding of a much better managed real estate agent business. And of course, if you like what you learned here, then we'd appreciate it if you would share these insights with other entrepreneurial real estate agents just like you, so that they can find their way to join us over here so we can make this bigger and more interesting. Don't forget to subscribe or follow us on whichever platform you're listening. And of course, a positive review is always appreciated. We also broadcast our live sales training on Facebook every Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. So remember to like our page so that you won't miss any notification when we go live. And of course, thank you so much for your precious time and your continued support in listening to this. And of course, I love looking forward to helping you in the next episode.
You've been listening to The Realty Classroom with Danny Griffin. Join us next time to continue learning how to build a smarter real estate agent business plan that helps you live a more fulfilled life.